lot of things on marketing today. So please try and just focus on what we are talking. Completely understand you will be having a lot of questions. Please put them in the chat box, right? I will have the chat history with me, and I have the email IDs of all the participants. So we'll get back with the answers to you. All right. Okay, class, let's begin. My students here, I'm calling you my class because I'm treating you as my students here, and you become my class. So let's begin with, again, the another concept of marketing. Okay. I hope you enjoyed the session yesterday. I hope you gained some kind of insight on marketing yesterday. And I am really hopeful that today also you would like the session and the examples which I would like to quote related to, again, marketing. Yes, yesterday what we started with was, we started with a very simple definition of marketing. We started with the simplest form and the way of understanding what marketing is. See, marketing, generally when it is being talked about, we always say the marketing of goods and services in the market, right? But you know, there are so many other things which are involved when the marketing is concerned. Yes, when we talk about, yes, it has to be the marketing of goods. Yes, we are talking about the country's production, which is in the form of physical goods. I completely understand. So, you know, the marketers and the companies are taking a lot of marketing efforts in order to promote those physical goods in the market, right? It could be a hair dryer, it can be your table, your desk, your mobile, right? Anything in the form of a good. Yes, we also discussed about that you market your services because, you know, as the economies are advancing, right, there are a lot of activities which are taking place, right? And these activities, when you talk about, like, you know, in terms of services, when I say it can be the airline industry, which is giving you lots of services, right? It can be the hotel industry, right, which is working again in the same direction and trying to give you a lot of services in terms of accommodation and food and drinks, etc. We can also talk about the lawyers who also give their services. So, you know, we understand that the two things which are generally spoken about when we talk about marketing are the goods and services in the market. See, apart from that, I also want you to focus that there are certain things in the form of experiences which the consumers generally tend to have and they like having. And the companies in the market, they're trying their level best to increase the experiences which are being delivered by them. And it becomes a kind of, you know, state of, communication and state of providing them good ambience. Like just a simple example here, Walt Disney, what is it doing? It's giving you a kind of experience, right? So it is, maybe you have an orchestra, which is giving you an experience, the ambience. So also you can talk about the cafes. So it's all about giving you that ambience and experience which makes you feel good. And that's why, see, even if you take your personal examples, you can compare. Sometimes you prefer a restaurant, when you want to dine out. Sometimes you always go for, sometimes you prefer to go for a good hotel, which gives you a good ambience, a good environment. You want the company of different people around who belong to a particular standard. So that is again experience. So there are certain industries which are selling you the experiences. So you understand it's not only the good and services, but also the company is taking up the decision and they are working in the field of providing good experiences to their consumers. Talking about experiences, there are lots of events which take place in the market, right? And the companies, they come up with the event, or you can say the other events. I can also give an example of, you can say maybe sports, Olympics, right? That's an event. And the companies, the marketers, they try to promote the time-based events, right? Why am I saying time-based? Because over a series of time or after a period of time, the event happens. And you know, you wait for a particular couple of years, something to happen. As I was giving you the example of Olympics. And plus, you can also take an example of trade shows. That's again an event, you know, any kind of a sport event, any kind of a trade show. So there are a lot of marketers and a lot of companies who try to promote these events. आप जाते होंगे for the artistic performances also, right? You would like to see the stand-up comedy, right? There are a lot of singers who give their stage performances, again a part of event. And yes, I hope you have seen the companies who are trying to promote these events. Yes, class? Yes, my students. So what we have understood is that you can also include the experiences and events when we are talking about the marketing. Apart from that, see, you have certain celebrities, you know, or maybe the people who have some name and fame in the market, right? So can the marketing of persons be done? Can the marketing of celebrities be done, right? Don't you think there are a lot of companies who are promoting some artists or maybe musicians in the market? Right? Or maybe sometimes you have some kind of a show where you have the physicians coming, right? For example, at the time of this COVID-19 situation, the doctors are taking their, taking out their time and trying to interact with the public around. And yes, there can be one company who might promote those doctors or physicians who might communicate directly with the consumers, right? You can have the good high profile lawyers also, the different professionals, the financials, and so on. Right. So we as a company, you can also market the persons because that is again connected with the image and the profile of your company. All right. So now it is not only the persons we are talking about, it could be the marketing of the places, right? Because when I'm talking about the places, I'll just give you one example. You know, maybe there are lots of companies who are taking initiative to attract the tourist, right? So they're talking about the place they belong to, right? And this can be a wonderful example here. The another form is, they can be in lots of forms otherwise. We can think about the organizations also. You know, maybe these organizations, they would like to promote them, you know, they market their organization. Maybe they're doing something good to the society. Maybe they're doing something which is different from what the other competitors in the market are doing. So yes, it can be the organization which can be marketed. You know, there are a lot of companies who come up with their slogans, right? Nike says, let's do it. Philips says, let's make the things better. So, you know, all these things are nothing, but they're trying to promote their organization. They're trying to make themselves, you know, distinguished and different from the other organizations available in the market. So you can market your organization as a whole. See, when you talk about, Patanjali or maybe Body Shop, see, these are the organizations who are promoting them on the basis of the quality of the goods, you know, which are being provided by them. Now, what kind of a quality basically they focus on? Just try and pay attention here. They talk about something which is herbal in nature, which has not harmed any animals when the production was going on. So see, it is quite a lot related to your own activities as a business house, which you're doing, and you would like to promote yourself on the basis of something wonderful and great done by you, because you're not harming any animal, or maybe you are doing something which is herbal in nature. So you understand, this is also the way the organizations, they try to promote them and they try to market themselves. They can be the marketing of information also. Encyclopedias is a good example. The magazines and the books which you read, right? These are the good examples. The internet websites here, that's again a good example here. So you can market even the information, marketing of information, right? So I hope you completely understand. If as a marketer you think about the whole environment, you will find so many things which can be marketed by you. Maybe as a student, maybe as one of the person whom I'm interacting right now, you might come up with something very different in the market and you say that this can also be marketed, which has not yet been thought about anybody else. Yes. So they can be marketing of each and everything. You just have to define the category there. As I was talking about the experience, I was talking about product. Maybe you can think about anything else which you can put in a different category, and you can take the decision that yes, this can also be marketed. Yes, class? Now, since we are talking about marketing, it is very important for us to understand right from the beginning. We've been talking about how the consumers in the market, they are understood by the marketers. You know, this is that you want to understand their needs, you want to understand their wants and demands, right? So it is very essential for you to understand that what is the basic difference when we are talking about needs, wants, and demands of a consumer in the market. Need, the first one, it's something which is very easy when we talk about needs. It's my basic requirement, right? I need food, I need air, I need clothing, I need shelter. So that is my basic need as a consumer, right? Now, understanding these basic needs, when the companies have an in-depth understanding, they try to make the products, they try to manufacture the products because they know that these basic requirements have to be anyhow met. Yes. Now, see what happens is generally these needs are some or the other way, or maybe at some or the other time, they convert it into wants, right? When I say that they're being converted into wants, that means I am moving and inclining my needs towards a specified object, right? I say that I have a need of food, right? But if I am directing my needs to a specific object, then that means that need has become a want. Now, for example, it just says that I want food. It could be anything. But for example, if I am a South Indian, I would prefer to have maybe dosa, idli, sambar, utpam, right? So this has become my want because I'm trying to become specific. Now, did you understand why did I mention as a South Indian here, I would like to have maybe, dosa, utpam and all, right? Reason being because when you talk about somebody's needs in the market, which has been converted into wants, they get converted into wants on the basis of one's experience about a particular society. Or I would say, generally these needs, right, they become your wants. Or maybe I would say the wants are shaped by one's society he or she lives in. Right. That's why I mentioned an example of a South Indian here who would prefer to have maybe dosa, idli, sambar and all. Did you understand that? Right? You can always drop your message if there is any confusion, right? I'll get back with the answers to you. But you can always keep on, just running your mind. I always tell my students that when I'm teaching them, they should just get carried away with the flow. Because generally my classes are with the flow and it moves with one step and another step. Right. So now we have come from need to wants here, which is clearly defined by the society. You're very clear that this is how my need will be shaped. Now, when I talk about society, there can be numerous societal forces, right? It is not just when I'm talking about society, it is not related only to my religion, right? It can be maybe in a particular area, geographical area I live in, right? Or maybe the kind of a friend circle I have. So all these factors will constitute and they will shape up your wants. I think everybody is clear with this. And now, since now we understand the companies would be really focusing on these specific object while they are producing the final products, right? This want has to be backed up by someone's or maybe the consumer's ability to pay, right? I'm saying my wants, they have to be backed up by my ability to pay. I want this, absolutely, I want a Mercedes, right? I want Mercedes, I want expensive, shoes, I want expensive watches, but do I really have the backup of buying it, right? If I do not have the backup, I cannot say that is my demand. That is just my want, right? So when the companies are looking at the demands persisting in the market, they have to really see who are those category of consumers who would be actually demanding my product. That means who are in a condition to purchase my product because of their purchasing power. So I am converting my want on the basis of my pocket size into demands. Is that clear to everyone? Very simple concept, but just try to understand how generally things shape up, right? However, I would say that marketers, they are not able to create the demands, they create the needs, in fact, because the needs, they pre-exist. As I said, there can be a lot of needs about food, shelter, clothing, and etc. So need is already there. So needs pre-exist. But there are a lot of societal influences and a lot of other influences which shape up the want and definitely the demands of a person, right? Now, since we are talking about the needs, wants, and demands here, see what kind of a situation is going on right now. Social distancing, that's the need of an hour. But this kind of a social distancing can lead to stress. Maybe people are very anxious. Maybe those people have a sense of loneliness also, because there are elders in the family who might be feeling they do not have much to do. If we compare them with the youngsters in the family who might be working from home, so at least those people are occupied. Even if I talk about those youngsters in the family who are working, maybe they do not have work to do right now, maybe because the company is not able to give them anything which can be work from home. So, let's talk about those marketing individuals who have to go and do the marketing, personal marketing, direct selling and all, right? So you understand, so that might increase the anxiety, that might increase the stress. Now, what these companies are doing in the market? These companies are taking special steps to identify that what kind of need is existing at this point of time when everybody is at home, right? And when there is an in-depth understanding, when there is a basic understanding of these needs, right, they can address them before it becomes a problem. Right. I might give you, maybe there are a lot of solutions which have come up. People are, there's just too much stress. So there are a lot of websites and there are a lot of people who might be working actually from their own channel earlier. Now they have started working online and they might be giving you the classes on yoga or on meditation to reduce your anxiety and stress. Right? We all know that the schools and offices are closed, right? So it becomes really difficult for the parents to really work from home and to engage their kids, right? So you might be aware about this. Audible, right, which is an audiobook service by Amazon, is giving you the free streaming of the stories to kids. So this is what they have completely understood. They have to engage the kids, because you have those adults in the family who are working from home. They want their own space and they want the kids to be engaged into some good quality activity and so on. So people are coming up with lots of ideas. Right. So till the schools are shut, right, they are closed, maybe you can engage your kids with these online streaming of stories. Apart from that, you have Byju's. This is one of the company which is giving its services now. Online classes, definitely they are there. But if you look at the videos by Byju's, you will completely understand the kind of explanation they have designed for the kids, right? And even for those starting in 11th and 12th standard, right? They're wonderful and they are trying to engage the students and they're trying to give quality education. So lots of services are being provided and lots of companies are working in this direction. Apart from that, the Amazon has also taken a lot of steps to support its employees, to its customers and everybody. And they have tried to adjust their pricing also. When I'm talking about Amazon pricing, I have a very good example which I will take when I start discussing about pricing here. Right now, I'm just focusing on how they are trying to cope up with this COVID-19 situation here. So I will not focus more on pricing, but I will take this example to remind me. So, what Amazon is doing is it's coming up with a fair pricing. It's trying to adjust the shopping experiences according to the time availability of the shoppers. Maybe according to the senior citizens, they have designed their shopping experiences accordingly, right? And of course, the delivery time. If you have seen the way these websites have started advertising and promoting them, it is related to the way they are maintaining the social distance and making this delivery safe for you. So you don't have to get in contact with the delivery boy and it will be kept at your place, no signatures required, which was earlier required, and so on. I know, I mean, a lot of these kind of, strategies, they are being developed, right? And the companies, they're trying to adjust according to this COVID-19 situation. And even if you see Geo, it has come up with the work from home package. For those people who are working from home, they are trying to give them good speed, good connectivity. So again, the companies, they are trying to adjust themselves according to this COVID-19 situation, right? So what we were talking about, where we initiated, we were trying to understand that there are needs, there are wants, and they are converted into demands, right? And we also discussed that the needs, they pre-exist. So can you understand one thing here? When we are assuming a situation that the needs pre-exist, the company is just trying to add value to it. I know there is a need. So as a company, I'm just trying to add a value to my product, which might satisfy the need being desired by my consumers in the market. So now, since we are talking about the needs over here, the major focus, I would say, should be given to all the competitive forces around, maybe to your stakeholders while designing the strategies, right? It can be related to understanding the needs of your consumers in the market, or maybe to deal with the current situation of, COVID-19. Because only the consumer-oriented approach, which is used by the companies in designing the differentiating strategy, won't work. Right? You have to understand each and every person who is associated with your business, either directly or indirectly. So see, understand, when the companies are designing the strategies, they're keeping in mind each and every person who might be directly or indirectly affected by its actions. Right? So alone thinking about one particular feature, just the customer, would not work. I have to see if I can satisfy my stakeholders, the other stakeholders, not only the customers, but also my shareholders in the market, but also the government agencies, but also the society, because I should not be harming my society. So I should have an inclination and I should have an orientation to each and every stakeholder who is directly or indirectly associated with my business. Right? So let's talk about the extended market orientation here. Because why am I using this extended? We call it a EMO. And why it is known as EMO? Because we are basically trying to understand that it's not only the market orientation, but apart from the market, there would be other forces also which need to be considered by me when I'm designing the strategy. So extended market orientation. So which is in short, as I said, is also known as EMO, right? Market orientation is basically, if just market orientation, if we talk about, is basically the generation of market intelligence, right? Which is related to your current as well as the future consumer needs. Market intelligence. So market intelligence is what? I'm trying to use my intelligence, the market intelligence, or sometimes it is also known as a customer intelligence, right? Because it would help me in understanding the current and the future needs of my consumer. It is actually also related to the dissemination of this intelligence, right? Dissemination is dispersal. Now, dispersal of what? If I have conducted a market research, if I have analyzed my market properly, I came to know about a lot of things. Maybe it is about my consumer needs, or maybe it is about the market forces, or maybe it is about my competitors' forces and the government's rules and regulation and the global forces and whatnot. Right. So now the question arises, what am I going to do with whatever I am accumulating in terms of information? There has to be dissemination. Dissemination of intelligence. Right? Dissemination is dispersal. You're distributing it. Now, to whom would you like to distribute it? Just think about yourself. किसको देंगे आप ये information? Whoever requires it. In the organization, you have so many departments. You have a marketing department, you have a human resource department, you have an operations department, production department, and so on. Now, the information which is so being collected by you, we call it a business analytics also. Students here, what is business analytics? It is nothing but the kind of business intelligence which you use for your business, because you have to analyze the market. And this analysis cannot be done if you do not have the right people to do it. So you have to distribute this information to the concerned person or to the concerned department. Different departments or maybe different levels in the organization, whatever is your discretion, and whatever you think might be good and will be, and whatever you think, whoever is responsible and could use this information in a wise manner. So you will be distributing it accordingly. Okay. And next thing what comes in our mind is what after if I have dispersed this information. The point over here is that after this information has been provided to the concerned persons or the concerned departments, now I have to take the responses from them. Responses in the sense, because the information which has been provided to them is in raw form. You haven't done anything with it. Right? The research department might have taken the information that might have been given to the marketing department. Maybe the marketing department from its own perspective would analyze it and would come to a conclusion, right? It might be having its own, intelligence system to come to a point, to come to a decision. And this is known as your response. So when you talk about the market orientation concept, there are, major elements as we talked about in terms of the business intelligence, in terms of dispersal of information, right? And then it comes the responsiveness. All right. I have just taken it in a brief form. So whenever we talk about the market intelligence, it would be definitely based on the dissemination, because the concerned person should have an idea about the information. So it is responding to the market requirements, of course, taking the participation from all the departments of your organization, because everybody needs to understand what the organization is doing, because each and every department is so interconnected with each other that you need to have an idea that who is looking after what and how this information can be for the benefit of each and every person in the organization. So this market information, it needs to be communicated, or I would say the information should be communicated to all the departments formally or informally, according to the procedures of your organization, right? Each and every organization has a different rule, different kind of policies, right? And a different kind of methods, right? So according to whatever norms the organization has, you will be dispersing the information accordingly, right? Then generally the organization, they have to focus on the market orientation, right? Now again, I'm coming back to this market orientation, reason being, because whatever is the action, which is taken in response to the market intelligence. The market intelligence, which has generated the facts and figures, it has been disseminated, as I said, it has been communicated, as I said, to the different levels in the hierarchy or to the different departments. Generally, it comes in the form of a responsiveness, right? When it comes a question of designing your final product or rendering a service in the market, this is nothing but it is a responsiveness, or the departments have taken the decision on the basis of the information which have been provided to them, right? So it's a responsiveness by each and every department. So when you are designing a particular product, it is in response to the market intelligence which helped you in collecting the information, okay, about your target market, about what the consumer needs, and etc. I hope that is clear to everyone, right? So can you really now just have an overview here? This market orientation, don't you think it is more talented, right? Don't you think it is more self-equipped, I would say? As compared to, why I'm making a comparison now here with the traditional marketing. You remember yesterday also I gave you an example and I said that how this traditional marketing is different from the modern way of conducting your business, right? So what is happening in the extended market orientation? One has to really understand that traditional marketing concept. I have not taken the traditional marketing concept with you, but you can always relate it, right? It is more of customer oriented, right? I repeat, it is customer oriented. But when we talk about the market orientation or extended market orientation, it is oriented towards consumers of the market, towards the market forces, like maybe your competitors, like maybe any other stakeholders other than your consumers, maybe your distributors in the market, or maybe the other influencers which keep on affecting your business. So I am distinguishing here the traditional marketing concept which just thought about one parameter, right? Since I'm extending it, so I am assuming there are a lot of other things which are affecting my business directly or indirectly, as I said in the beginning. Right? So we say that extended market orientation, it is different from the traditional way of marketing your products. Traditional marketing, that is basically based on your market pull model, right? Jo bhi aapne bana diya, just sell it out in the market. But I would say, don't just sell it out, just see what is demanded, just see what is needed by them, and accordingly manufacture and offer to them. That's our extended market orientation. And when I'm producing it, I have to keep in mind that it should not cause any kind of a harm to my society. So again, the extended market orientation, which has extended from the consumers now to the environment. and keeping in mind that whatever I'm doing is legal in nature. So I'm keeping another force, that is the government's rules and regulation. Did you all understand that? This is an extended market orientation. Okay. Now, extended market orientation model is a very innovative model, because you keep on devising those strategies and those methods which are very different and which might portray the image of your company in a very different manner, right? So traditional concept of marketing is just the marketing function. लेकिन जब हम orientation की बात करते हैं, the market orientation, it's a kind of a organizational concept. Why am I again using this word organizational here? Because as a whole, you're looking at after your organization, right? You have the different hierarchies, you have the different people working with you, you have the different departments, so you want a correlation. So I'm not just thinking about one consumer, maybe I'm thinking about my employees of the organization and so many other forces and so many other influencers of the market, right? So it is related to each and every force in an extended manner. There is also a sales orientation model, right? Which is generally used by the organization when they're not equipped equipped properly, I would say. You know, they would like to deliver the products which might be tailored in order to serve the consumer needs. It is recommended, you know, for such companies that instead of manufacturing the product just to generate profit, right? The businesses, they should always focus and they should look forward for developing the products, right? Which are maybe technically based, right? Or maybe they are on the basis of the consumer's desire and demands in the market. And you're using a business intelligence to come to this decision. Or as I said, you can also call it a customer intelligence, right? And this would definitely help the company to produce the products according to the needs, right? And the strategies will be accordingly formulated. It would definitely help the company to meet the global as well as the domestic competitive market forces, right? So it is generally recommended that if those companies who are not self-equipped, right, let them watch the other companies around and take their decision. If they really feel that they do not have their own business intelligence system which can really work good for them, so let me be dependent on the business intelligence system of the other firms also, right? Formulated marketing. Can you please go back to my previous class and just try to relate? Okay. Here, everyone has to really understand that internet technology has played a very important role. The social media technologies, right? They all are playing their own roles, and you know, they are even considered as the major force which is affecting the decisions of the organization, right? So when it comes to the question of designing any business strategy or any kind of a technique to deal with this market challenge, the companies who are market-oriented companies, I would say, they revolve around the internet business processes, right? Why am I saying it? Because the business intelligence system, which we have been talking about, it has been enhanced and it has been upgraded because of these technological developments, right? So this is playing a very important role. So your business intelligence system, it becomes more profound, right? And it becomes more enhanced, more competent when I'm using the internet and the technologies for any purpose. All right. So market orientation is generally, it can be, as I said, extended market orientation, which is not only inclining itself to the consumers, but also to the different kind of market forces. See, because we have discussed about this market orientation, it has a very strong connection with the positioning of the brand. I'm trying to connect all the points together. I will take the branding along with it. I will take the strategies also, because as I discussed about the situations, how generally the companies, they try to develop the strategies, keeping in mind their own competency, keeping in mind their competitors' competency, keeping in mind the market forces. A lot of things are being kept in mind before they design their strategies, right? So as I was saying that now I would like to pick up positioning here, which is a strong connection with the market orientation, what we were talking about. The positioning It can be the brand, it can be your product, it can be your own company's image in the market, right? So when you think about positioning, what exactly comes in your mind? Just give a thought to it. Keep your answers with you. If you have any questions, just put them in chat box, which will be answered later, right? Just give yourself an answer. What is positioning? Placing your brand in a particular manner is positioning. Positioning your brand in the mind of the consumers is positioning. The way you want your consumers to understand you is positioning. The way you want your consumers to interpret about your company is positioning. I have not given you any of the definitions from any book, but this is what is positioning. It has a very strong connection with the brand image. Market positioning is basically the ability of a particular brand, right? Or maybe a company to influence the consumer's perception. Perception is the way I am thinking, my ability to think. But if I can change somebody's ability to think, that's what I'm doing through my positioning strategy. And this perception is in relation to the other related competitors or other related brands in the market. Class, yes, I want to position myself as an individual brand. I will do that. I'm not always saying that it will be only in terms of competition in the market, right? But when I'm doing a positioning, I have the intention that I should be preferred over my competitors. So generally, when the companies, they tend to get into the positioning strategy, they try to build a particular kind of image in connection to their competitors in the market, right? They are building the identity of their brand, right? Or maybe the product in the mind of consumers. Maybe, there can be a lot of companies who might be positioning itself, company who might be positioning themselves on the basis of some brand status, maybe a status symbol. So if I own a particular brand, I own it because that belongs to my status. But how do you really know that if you own that particular brand, you belong to a particular status? Because that's how the company has positioned itself. That's how the company has positioned itself in the mind of consumer as a luxury brand. There might be a product in the market who might be trying to establish itself as an economically priced product. That's again one of my positioning strategy. So I will not only say that I'm talking about status symbol, right? Say that we are economically priced product, right? We are not pricing high. So that is again one of the positioning strategy used by them. Or maybe there is another brand which is trying to position itself in terms of innovation. So whenever I talk about innovation, I always have one example in my mind. That is Apple, which is widely known for its innovative features. Every time, you know it very well, that if I have one, maybe iPhone maybe with you, and I know that after 6 months or in a year or so, it is going to change all the features and it is going to come up with the upgraded model. So you understand, it is known for its innovation. So each and every company has tried to establish itself on the basis of certain features, and that's what the positioning is, right? Now the positioning can be in terms of various forms, right? As I said, the status symbol, right? It can be related to the competitors also, right? Where the marketers would like to establish themselves in a certain way, right? That they want to be perceived in a better way or in a different way, and maybe in a superior way as compared to the other competitors in the market. So you're trying to make your consumers think that you are better than the other competitors. And how are you making them think? Because you're coming up with those marketing strategies, right? You're trying to position yourself, better than the other competitors in the brand market. Good strategy, because this is how I would cut down their market share and I would increase my market share. And that's what we want. That's what the companies want. The another way of positioning my product can be related to the product use, right? That means you're trying to position your product in a particular way that it has a different kind of use altogether, different kind of an application, right? So it has been produced. The company states it that my product has been produced to be used for a particular purpose, right? So this is how I am positioning my product. Maybe it is something which is not for a daily use. Maybe I'm saying that this kind of a brand should be used when you are going out in a particular circle, which is a status again, right? So you should be wearing it, or you should be using it. It can be related to perfumes. It can be related to watches, right? It can be related to your shoes and anything. So you understand a particular use, or maybe it has to be used in a particular manner. So it could be any of the strategy being used by them. The another way we can think about is I might be positioning myself as a good quality product, where you would like to position in terms of your superior quality as a brand or as a product, right? And you try to associate and link your brand with certain, high level of quality, superior quality, or expected quality of your consumers. Right? So you're basically trying to connect it with the quality either being demanded by your consumers in the market, or something which you have produced on your own and you would like to, position it and to be interpreted it in a similar manner by your consumers. Right? So this can be related to quality as well. It can be related to the benefits which again your product offers, or maybe the features. We call it the attributes of the product, right? So I would like to highlight my benefits. I would like to highlight my features, right? Because of which maybe there are consumers in the market who prefer me. I'm using a Sensodyne toothpaste. Why am I using it? Maybe because I think according to my teeth, it is required because of sensitivity, right? So it can be related to the benefit it might give to your consumers in the market. You definitely try that your brand or maybe your product in the market is perceived in a different manner or in a particular manner, on the basis of maybe the features, the characteristics, the benefits, and whatever we have talked about, the quality, or maybe the perceived price, right? So it's basically about perception. This is how I want my consumers to look at me, right? So definitely when I'm changing the perception of my consumers, when I'm talking about the characteristics and the features of my product in the market, I'm highlighting certain kind of values in my product, the beneficial values which I'm able to provide to my consumers, right? Otherwise, there is no point if that positioning in terms of the brand attributes does not add any value to your consumer's life. Right? So आपकी जो positioning है, that has to be directly connected to what in return the consumers are going to get. Right? So understand now, what is this overview of positioning? Here, my dear students, you will understand that it is not about creating anything new in the market. Class, please be with me here. You are not creating anything new in the market when you're doing the positioning, or maybe anything different in the market. But it is all about manipulating whatever is already there. Whatever is already there in the market, whatever is already there in the consumer's mind. And as a company, you are just trying to bridge a gap which is existing. In the sense, maybe my consumers are thinking so and so, and I want them to think about me so and so. So I have to really bridge that gap. That is positioning. Maybe they do not understand me the way I want them to understand. Maybe the attributes and the features of my product are not clear in my consumer's mind. Let me clear that. Bridging the gap in how your consumers are thinking and how you want them to think. Positioning. So if anybody wants to create a positioning strategy, one has to really understand It should not be complex in nature, right? It is all about sharpening your message. Sharp your message. Be crystal clear what exactly you want to communicate. It should be communicated in such a way that it is registered in your consumer's mind. You have to cut down on the ambiguities, the complexities. The basic purpose is to make the understanding, to improve the understanding. It is not necessary that you can always improve the understanding with the heavy words. You have to simplify your message and simplify it all the more so that it creates a long-lasting impression in your consumer's mind. Alpenliebe took a lot of time when the consumers actually learned to spell it and pronounce it. It was a little ambiguous, right? Consumers really took a lot of time. Yes, I know, I completely understand now. Everybody understands and they can pronounce it in a very beautiful manner now, right? But yes, I was not talking about in relation to positioning when I was saying Alpenliebe. It was just the pronunciation. When positioning comes in my mind, I really want to pick up, there is a very old saying related to it, and which the companies generally follow. Again, please pay attention to this. What exactly I mean to say when I'm talking about the old framework and why is it being used by the companies. The easiest way to get into a person's mind is to be number one. The easiest way, or maybe to be the first in the market. See, understand, nobody has yet captured the consumer's mind. If you become the first one, it becomes easy for you. If you become the second one, it becomes a little difficult for you because you have to erase the previous memory from your consumer's mind about the previous brand and then position yourself. And when you become number 3, I think the difficulty increases all the more. And number 4, number 5, and number 6. I hope you get the trend here, right? So what exactly are we trying to understand? It is actually better to be first than to be better. I have a very important message to convey here. Right? I completely understand. Maybe even if you are not the number one, even if you take the entry later in the market, you can, on the basis of your quality and on the basis of your strategies, can rule over the market. No doubts about it. But yes, the difficulty level increases. Right? So it is said, if I am the number one in the market who has entered the market, who has positioned itself in a particular way in the market, it becomes easy for you to survive and sustain your market image for a longer time. It's simple example here. Whenever we say that, I think about a toothpaste, only Colgate clicks my mind. Right? Maybe because I have been using it right from my childhood, right? And my family always had only this toothpaste in my washroom, right? So do you understand? This was the first one which was there in front of me. So whenever I talk about toothpaste, Colgate will always be there in my mind. I will come to all this again with you because I want to relate this, being first in the market with a lot of things around which are happening in market, right? But one has to really understand one thing. If I want my product to be positioned in my consumer's mind, or maybe in my prospective consumer's mind, potential, it could be potential consumers also, I have to take some efforts to delete the old brand, right? You have to delete that old memory from the consumer's mind that has already occupied a certain position or a certain space in the consumer's mind, right? Everything cannot fit in. Thoda hatana padega. There has to be de-learning also, right? In order to be, be visible in the market and to be there in the market, right? As I said, that does not mean if you are not the first one to position yourself, you cannot succeed. But yes, you have to take a lot of efforts, lot more efforts as compared to that first brand in the market. Guys, um, over a period of time, there are certain things which have been proved, and even the history has shown it. The first brand into your mind get twice the long-term market share than the number 2 brand, and twice as much as number 3 brand. Did you get the idea? Right? So it goes in a series here. I will have long-term benefits as a number 1 brand, right? Maybe twice, because I'm there in the market. People have started recognizing me, and people know me as somebody who has initiated this kind of a platform, right? So I would definitely have a better market share than those companies who might enter the market later, right? So with this discussion over here, the companies are positioning themselves, and they know it, that it is one of the most important part, indispensable part that they cannot even ignore, right? So if you want to create a greater market share for the company, it is definitely in terms of your relative market position. That means in relation to your competitors in the market, right? So it's all about creating an impression. It's all about creating an impression of your product or brand in the consumer's mind. Sometimes people do not know you. Maybe you are not visible in the market. Maybe because you're a small company in the market. Or maybe you haven't taken those marketing efforts to create your visibility the way the other competitors have done it. I would like to position myself in a certain way. Let me talk about Taxila Business School here. I belong to this institute. I have seen my institute developing in the last few years. And it's a small organization, but it has something very big to perform and big to give. So if I want to convey my message in terms of positioning, because I'm teaching you marketing here, the kind of a course structure, right? This is my positioning strategy only according to my perception. The kind of a course structure which is so designed is giving you the in-depth understanding of the concepts of marketing. It is trying to create the future professionals or the marketers by enhancing your marketing skills and developing you professionally. And how do we do it? By upskilling you, right? We try to skill you, we upgrade you in the best possible manner. This is what I'm talking about only from the marketing perspective, right? So this is my way of positioning my organization, because I know the strengths on the basis of which I can say this is what my organization is, right? The most recent example of brand positioning, right? I really want to take it because I think everybody is working from home and everybody is at home nowadays, my dear students. You must be watching a lot of movies and series around, right? What according to you is the brand positioning strategy of Netflix? What are the most important thing which every business house has to really think over? That is how you can occupy a particular space, right? Or a position in a consumer's mind, because we're talking about a positioning here, right? And that's what we were talking about when we discussed about the consumer's perception also. That the company has to really position itself. The product has to be positioned to replace the old brands. That's what the discussion was all about from the minds of your consumers. And that whatever communications or the company would like to transfer to the final consumers should be communicated as it is intended to be communicated. Right? Now, I will just take, I'll come back to Netflix first, but I just want to exaggerate more on what I was talking about here. As I gave you the example that whenever I talk about, when I'm talking about positioning, so whenever I think about a toothpaste, automatically, Colgate comes in my mind. So when I think about noodles, automatically Maggie will click my mind. I mean, you can relate it with your own clicks, right? I'm not saying that it might be possible with you also, but yes, with a maximum number of consumers, it might be possible, right? So maybe when you talk about a photocopying brand, Xerox comes in our mind. आज भी हम बोलते हैं इसका Xerox करा दो. Xerox is a brand. इसका Xerox नहीं होता है, right? We say that. Again, that pops in everybody's mind, right? When we talk about the cola drink, Coca-Cola, right? So automatically it is coming in our mind. So you understand, when we are talking about these brands, they become the generic brands of the market, right? The way we have the generic medicines, the generic brands in the market. So whenever you're thinking about what I was talking about here, automatically one particular brand clicks the mind, right? Which has already created its position and names in the mind of consumers, right? So a lot of names will click, and you can understand that this is how the positioning works for the company. But see, understand, these are those brands which have already taken the place in the market. Maybe in the form of a first product, or maybe the second product, but it is an old product which is a well-established product in the market. And automatically, they would always be thought of, and they would always be clicked by the consumers. They would always be clicked whenever they are trying to think about these kind of products, the similar product lines, I would say. Okay. Now, coming back again to Netflix here. Netflix is a brand which has taken over very great market share. By understanding that if a company has to make its visibility, in fact, more prominent in the market, it had to first create its leadership position. This is how basically it was initiated by Netflix in the market. It has gained a very good share in the market, but yes, it was on the leadership position once, right? So where it started from? It started from a very small market. In fact, I would say it was a niche market. And it started to meet the consumers' needs and wants only in the niche market earlier. Okay. Now, again, I will deviate myself a little bit because there are a lot of things which are concepts which are connected to it. Then again, I'll come back to it again. Now, if you talk about the Netflix competition, what is the major competition here? अगर आप Netflix नहीं देखेंगे तो Amazon Prime देख लेंगे, right? So Amazon Prime is again, we can say it's one of the competitor. It has done wonders in the market. And it is one of the most, I would say, the strongly preferred brand in the market. But the way the Amazon faced the competition or challenges in the market were related to the fear of unknown, right? I'm relating it here. Fear of unknown. Because initially this was a company, it started with the online trading, online business, and consumers in the market, they had the fear of unknown. I do not know the product. How can I buy it? That's the fear of unknown. Initially, when Amazon started, its business started with the CD business in the market. Can you please go back? Go back to that Amazon's, history of how it started its business. And understood the consumers on different basis that try to understand what is the buying habit and so on. If you look at that point of time when Amazon came into the market with the CD business, they were basically in the habit of buying those products, basically, if I talk about the consumers in the market, for which they had the complete idea, right? So which maybe the consumers in the market can really touch and feel. But when you talk about the CD business of Amazon, this was concerned only with the movie business. Yes, only with the movie business. And the CDs were just the commodities of the market, right? If you talk about the commodity online, or maybe in the physical store for that matter, right? Because I'm talking about the movies here as a commodity. They would not be different at all. If you get it, maybe from a online, trading business, or maybe from a physical store. Is that clear to you? So here, as a result, the consumers did not have any fear of unknown. Basically, it was the kind of a habit formation which was initiated by Amazon by selling maybe the books and series online. Again, coming back to Netflix here, right? Though we are facing a lot of competition from Amazon Prime, but now, if you look at this brand of Netflix, it is trying to give a lot of freedom to its consumers, right? In the sense, freedom in the sense, because you can stream your own series, you can stream your own movies as per your own choice, right? You have positioned yourself as Netflix in such a manner. And slowly and gradually, the Netflix, it started diversifying itself into the different segments of the market. Sirf niche mein nahi kiya, where we started with. Yes, it was in the niche segment, but yes, slowly and gradually, it tried to have all the market segments. Now you have this section for kids also. Maybe you want to go for the humorous, or maybe you want to go for something, maybe romantic movie, and so on. Right? So you have the different segments of the market with you. So did you understand the positioning strategy which is related to these kind of companies? It is actually related to the kind of series the companies come up with, right? Which is not available anywhere. So it was a differentiated positioning strategy by Netflix, that I'm not giving you the product which has already been provided or which is available with any other competitor around, for example, Amazon Prime. It has its own original series or maybe the movies, which will be available only on Netflix and not anywhere else. A positioning strategy which is trying to give a lot of convenience to the consumers around. Yes, students? Yeah, this is how they are trying to position themselves. This positioning part is quite a lot over. I cannot just get into a detail here because we don't have much time with us. And since I'm going on with these classes, everybody is there with me? Everyone is there with me? Can I just have yes or no here? Because it's since long I'm talking and yes, okay, somebody has raised the hand here. All right. And I hope everything is clear to everyone. Yes? Clear to everyone? Okay. All right. Okay. I will be, if you have any questions, as I said, I'll be sending you the personally, I'll be looking into the matter and send you the answers for the same. Okay. So you don't have to worry about that. Right now, your focus should be just understanding what I'm trying to explain you. That's it. All right, my class? Okay. Coming back to it, now I would like to, my voice is cracking. Is that so? Somebody has just dropped a message. My voice is cracking. Am I audible? Just drop one more message to me. It's fine. It's fine. All right. No issues. Okay, fine. I want to take the pricing strategy here. Class. See, pricing plays a very important role. And when you talk about the pricing of any commodity or maybe the products in the market, this is the only element that is producing revenue for any organization, right? So when I talk about the other elements in the organization, they are just producing the cost, right? I discussed about that in a very short form, even in the previous class, but a little detail I want to get into. Yes, it's one of the most flexible element also. Why am I saying flexible? Because it can be changed very quickly. And in fact, if not very quickly, maybe at the desire of the company, or maybe some kind of related market forces, or maybe the changes which are taking place. And these have to be some relevant changes which is inducing the company to change its pricing, right? So unlike if you talk about any other product feature for that matter, which can't be changed so frequently, or maybe the communication channels which are generally adopted by the organization, right? They cannot be changed very frequently. All these features and the factors which I'm talking about, they remain constant for a longer duration. I'm not saying the prices should also be changed very frequently, but yes, the company has the command over it, because a lot of changes are taking place and the company has to really upgrade itself. Maybe, the company thought that I can use a better technology to enhance the quality of my product. I can change the pricing too. Or maybe if I feel that, if the competitors in the market are doing and adopting the strategy, I might position myself in a very different manner here, and I might increase the pricing accordingly. Okay? So you understand the pricing is one of the major problem, in fact, I would say the company is facing from all around. Why am I saying is a problem? Because some of the companies, they are not able to handle the pricing very well. And they make a lot of mistakes, right, while determining the final pricing of the commodity. Maybe I would say the companies, they become too cost oriented when they are determining the pricing. So if हमने cost को ध्यान रखा, and then we finally concluded on a price, right? So can you understand, just keeping cost in mind and only one factor in mind, you cannot arrive to a decision that this should be the final pricing of your commodity. Sometimes the marketers, they don't even price a product according to the market situations, right? So that is again one of the problem. One is आपने cost को ही ध्यान में रखा, and then you are trying to arrive. No, there are a number of other factors to be considered too. And sometimes you're not even able to understand the market forces, right? So that means no revisions in the prices. You're not revising your prices at all because of the market changes. You need to do it, because we have to understand that one has to really capitalize on the opportunities available in the market, right? Because there are a lot of opportunities, I cannot miss on them. I might use a better technology, I might produce a better quality product, right? I might hire a skilled labor, and that would also add value to my product, right? So I have lots of opportunities here in the market which can improve in the development of my products. Let me avail those opportunities. So what if it is increasing my costing? Accordingly, I'll change the pricing also, right? So this is required, and the company is sometimes, because of a lot of things to be researched and worked by them, they generally forget to revise their pricing, right? To talk more about pricing, I can say one of the mistakes which companies generally make, they try to understand pricing different from the rest of the marketing mix. Product, price, place, promotion, processes, people, physical evidence, right? These are all your marketing mix. So pricing is not something which has to be looked at in isolation, but it has a strong connection with the other marketing mix of your organization, right? So you should not just understand it as one single feature, and you need to understand the other factors which might have a strong influence on your pricing. Generally at the time of pricing, for the first time I would say, there can be situations when a company is designing and developing a new product, okay? Maybe it is trying to introduce a regular product also in the market, right? But from a new perspective, but maybe from a new distribution channel, or maybe in a different kind of a geographical area, right? So in that situation, maybe your pricing can be different, and it can be set for the first time. For a different kind of a geographical location, I might have a different pricing, depending on the availability of the other products in the market, depending on the demand also, right? So pricing is, I would say it's a very important element. It's one of the important feature which also supports the quality of a product, which is also supporting the quality of the product. Why? Because it is actually supporting your positioning. Because when a firm is developing any kind of a strategy, it has to really decide that how the positioning needs to be done, the previous concept. Either it is on the basis of quality or on the basis of pricing, right? So you understand, so my positioning can be maybe because my quality is superior, so my pricing is according, right? In accordance to the quality being provided by my organization. There can be a lot of conflicts also in this, right? Between the price and quality segment, not necessarily be related, but yes, generally they are related. So when the marketers, they're trying to decide the pricing of any commodity or a product in the market, it generally tends to understand the basic objective of the pricing, right? It has to see what kind of demand the product has in the market, when the product is being produced, how much cost has been incurred in producing that item, right? So it is not only my costing as a company which needs to be understood, right? The company also has to understand what has been the costing of my competitors in the market and how the pricing has been quoted by them, how the pricing has been determined by them, by my competitors in the market. And then finally, the company, they tend to use different kind of pricing methods, right? Before they come to a final conclusion that this should be the price of my product. Briefly talking about the same, because I was talking about the objective of the pricing here. See, what happens is, what exactly comes in my mind here is, as a company, it is it just my objective to survive in the market? Just think about it. Is it just that I want to survive in the market? If I say yes, so this becomes only the short-term objective of a company, right? And it might be appropriate only for those companies where they are assuming lots of changes are taking place. So let me have the short-term benefit before I'm obsolete from the market, right? Did you get the connection here? So I might be pricing my products accordingly so as to have the maximum gains right now, because I don't know what my future is going to be, right? So I have, I have to really survive in the market, and I am deciding the pricing just on this basis to remain in the business, maybe. Maybe as a company, I might also be thinking that, what should be the profit of my organization? Because that's what the companies are for. That's what the basic purpose of the company's existence is, right? How much profit can I have with my pricing strategy, right? Company's objective is to maximize the profits in the market. And so the companies, they're trying their level best to understand the demands in the market, the costing of the product in the market, which is related to the demands again, right? And to the production, of course, and then decide the pricing. So at least they can have the maximum profit or maybe the return on investment. And the another way of understanding is that I should have the maximum market share with me. And this maximum market share, which I'm talking about, is completely dependent on the highest sales volume. Highest sales volume, the maximum sales volume my business can have, right? But these sales volume, which I'm talking about, can be increased when there is lower costing. Just try and understand, my students here, when there is lower costing of the product for per unit. Right? When I'm talking about the production costing here. Now, with this, it may be maybe the company, they are generally trying to have the penetration pricing. This is where the company is trying to set its price for those consumers who are the price sensitive consumers of the market, who would not prefer to buy the highly products in the market. Do you all understand that? I'm talking about those price sensitive consumers where there is a direct relationship. When the prices of my commodities are low, definitely it is going to increase the demand of my product in the market. So I'm using the penetration strategy here. And as a result, right, maybe I would have a different kind of a distribution system. I would have a different kind of production of my commodities in the market, right? Because the purpose over here is to just increase the volume of production, right? If I'm increasing the volume of production, I will have the economies of scale. Increasing the volume of production will also have the economies of scale, which simply says, when you increase in larger volume, the per unit costing comes down. Because in this situation, your fixed expenditures, they are intact. They will not be changed. It's just the per unit expenses which need to be incurred, or maybe the variable expenditures which need to be incurred would be different. Right? But see, understand, when I'm coming up with this lower costing and the low prices in the market, it has a very strong repercussion in terms of, if I talk about in a positive sense, this will discourage and definitely eliminate a lot of competition from the market. Right? You might have seen a lot of organizations, for example, you have Big Bazaar, you have Walmart. They all are selling their items and commodities at the lowest possible price in the market, right? And if I talk about just about Walmart here, since it has, reduced the number of intermediaries in between because it's not into the final production basically. As a result, the pricing of the commodities can be afforded at a very low platform. And as a result, yes, if I say that, yes, I have a good situation, I can really fight competition from the other competitors because of my pricing strategy. And if you also look at the pricing by those companies in the market who would like to set up the higher prices, let's understand the situation also. This is for the purpose of skimming the market. Just take away the cream of the market with you, right? When I'm trying to take away the cream of the market, I'm assuming different kind of conditions here. That I do have the reasonable number of buyers with me. I'm setting the high prices here. Students understand. I'm assuming that I have a decent number with me, which would buy my product, despite of the fact that my prices are high in the market. They would be demanding my product in the market, right? And there is also this kind of a situation where the per unit costing of a commodity of a product, in terms of production I'm talking about here, even if the company is producing on small volumes, right? My per unit costing will not be very high. Assumption of the company here. I'm not supporting it, right? But there might be a technology which might cover up this point. And as a result, we keep on having the advantages, right? Even if we do not have the economies of scale, but we do have the advantage of selling the product in smaller volumes. But still, I can afford to sell it at a very high price and gain the maximum advantages out of it, right? See, understand, if the company is introducing the product at a high price, it will not be attracting number of competitors. Yes, because it is a highly priced product. And yes, my product will be perceived as a high quality product, as a superior product of the market, which I can afford to sell in the market. And if the other competitors enter, they would not be able to take my position. Because generally when the pricing is determined, and if a new competitor is entering, he has to be at par with me. So if he is being at par with my pricing, he has to be at par with my superior quality also. If iPhone is giving you at 80,000 and 1 lakh plus, there has to be a product in the market who might be keeping at the same pricing but giving you the same quality, which is little difficult. You can do it. You can have those access to the technologies. Yes, but yes, the difficulty level rises here. There might be the other companies in the market who might be producing the quality products, right? And definitely these quality products, they're also being offered at a very high price because it has a strong connection with the quality, right? And it's not only the quality, but also the kind of benefits the product is able to give you, right? So maybe I can afford to pay more for the benefits which I'm getting, right? I want, at this point of time, I want the home delivery, right? I might be giving extra charges for it. The benefits which are directly related with the pricing, which maybe my retailer is charging from me. They can afford to have high pricing. Since I was talking about pricing and I said that I will take up an example of Amazon here. I just want to discuss it. I don't have much time with me, but let me take this example. See, Amazon is considered to be, and I would say probably each and every shopper thinks, even I also thought the same thing, unless I actually tried to understand its pattern. Every shopper thinks like that this is one of the company which has the lowest priced product anywhere in the market, right? And when you talk about the websites and the online selling, yes, we all have the same opinion, but that does not really hold true. Just think about it. Just get with me here, just be with me here. Actually, what Amazon is trying to do is, it has taken up the strategy of changing its prices number of times within an hour. You deserve to really know this. It is changing its pricing number of times in an hour. And it is taking the advantage of psychology of the consumers here, right? Or maybe it is trying to play with the price perception of the consumers. Price perception. So when it is changing its price number of times in an hour, so what is exactly happening here? It is actually balancing out thousands of individuals price changes. They're taking place in one single day. And how the consumers are understanding that it has the lowest prices. So at one point of time it is low, at another point of time it goes high. At another point of time, maybe by 10% drop, it goes 20% hike, and maybe 5% drop, it goes 30% hike. It is just doing it. So maybe if I'm clicking at the time when it is 20% hike, I'm the one buying it. There is a person who might be hitting when the price is 5% low. I might be the consumer getting the advantage. Or maybe at one point of time, it makes it 20% low, giving all the more advantages to the consumer. And again, giving back. So it is balancing out. It is balancing out, right? Maybe those discounts which it has offered to the consumers in the market, offering low prices, it has tried to gain the maximum of the advantages by offering it at the maximum possible prices. And this is what it is doing. Observe this trend when you go back now. So you have the fluctuations every now and then. I would say Amazon is very clever enough to adopt this kind of a strategy. It is trying to bring down the prices and giving lots of discounts on those products which are very famous in the market. Or I would say the popular ones in the market. And this is a strategy which is giving them the maximum discount, right? To the consumers, of course. There is another way of doing it. It is trying to charge the high prices for the less popular products in the market. So it is balancing out again, right? The popular ones being priced low, the unpopular ones, the not so popular ones, you're pricing at a very high, right? So see, when you are balancing everything out, your gains are maximum, or maybe you try to gain as much as you gain from the market, right? Where it can afford to charge high prices, so it is basically playing with the perception of the consumers by charging high pricing. It's a very clever strategy by Amazon. It's trying to make a lot of advantages, definitely with their popular products, by increasing the prices, right? This is not what I am saying. This is not what I'm saying. I believe in the facts and figures. I believe in the research reports. And this was the analysis which was done by Boomerang Commerce, which is a dynamic pricing company. This is not my personal observation, but yes, I did it after I went through this research report, right? Because whatever we are talking about has to be concrete and should be based on the research and data. Here, Boomerang also pointed out that, the pricing perception strategy, I would call it, in fact, right? Which is being used by a company like Amazon, is not a new strategy at all. ऐसा नहीं है, this is the only company in the market doing it, right? This, and I would say the smaller companies, I would say they cannot have the advantage, in fact, of this kind of dynamic pricing, which is being used by Amazon. This can be generally used by the larger organizations, as we see in the example of Amazon, because you have to use a particular kind of a software, right? And you need to have a lot of inside information, a lot of understanding of the market, which maybe the smaller companies are not in a position to do, right? Dynamic pricing option, agar aap dekhenge example of Ola and Uber, you will be able to understand. They charge the prices on the demand in the market, right? In the peak hours, it rises, right? Or maybe the kind of rates you have in the different time situations, they are entirely different, right? Maybe in the morning and evening hours, if you see the differences, they are there. The difference is nothing, but it is again a kind of a dynamic pricing which is being used by them, which fluctuates maybe as per the time, as per the demand which exists in the market, right? So we're talking about the pricing here. Let me again go back to Netflix. Again, same examples, you would be able to correlate whatever you have in your mind. See, this company, if you go back a little, while maybe around few years back, you would realize generally the family used to take up the decisions of going to these rental shops, for buying DVDs, right? Aapke mummy papa ne kiya hoga, just ask them once. Generally on the weekends, on Fridays and Saturdays nights, they would like to watch movies. Every time you cannot afford go to the to movie theaters and all, right? So maybe DVDs le aaye and you watch the movies, right? And this kind of a tradition was followed, I think, everywhere across the nation, I would say. Everybody was doing it. Thoda sa sasta hota tha, so everybody thought this would be a preferred option. When Netflix made the entry to the market, they provided them with good quality stuff in terms of movies and in terms of its series, original series, I would say. And it entered the market with reasonable costing. Reasonable costing. Somebody might be thinking here, reasonable? No, Netflix is the most costlier one, right? That comes in your mind here. See, when you look at the subscription cost for per annum, it is not high as compared to maybe the DVDs which you buy from the market, or maybe the movie tickets which you purchase from the market, right? So kindly compare it with that. So we have to just understand that the company basically tried to shift, this kind of a perception and the pattern which the Indian consumers had. Why only Indian consumers? I mean, I think that might be applicable international level also, right? So, the consumers who have the habit of going to the movie theaters, or maybe they buy the DVDs, etc. Their shift was basically now towards the Netflix series and movies. A very good strategy by the company, right? And it stated, it focused and it positioned itself that, the kind of expenditures you incur on DVDs or maybe on theaters, compared to that, the expenditure you make on Netflix is comparatively very low. And that too without the commercial breaks. That's a USP of the company. No breaks in between, everything at a stretch. And this is what the consumers in the market enjoy. And this is how they position themselves. One of the most distinguishing feature of Netflix. Let me take you more closer to branding here. Everything, just a second, because this class was supposed to be till 1. Shall I continue? Shall I continue? Because the timings we have was till 1. Shall we continue further? Okay. That's wonderful. We'll continue more, right? I just wanted to pick up a small this thing. Otherwise, I would have a glitch in my mind again that I did not complete what I wanted to express. All right. Okay. So basically, one needs to understand how this branding is done. हमने branding के बारे में पहले भी बहुत बात करी है, and I just want to take you a little more closer to branding, as I said. It has lots of factors when the brands of a company is talked about. It can be related to the logo of the company, the name of the company, or it can be the image of the company in the market, right? So this is nothing but this is all about branding, right? Now, if you look at it, you will understand that it is done basically in order to attract the consumers of the market. It can be done through advertising or maybe with some other kind of a marketing tool, right? Or it should always have some kind of a theme in mind, that has to be a little consistent also in nature, right? Or maybe a consistent philosophy in mind. You will understand when I move further, right? Because so what are you trying to do is you are putting up an attraction to your consumers, right? So it basically intends to have a differentiated position and presence, in fact, I would say, in the market. So companies, they generally go for the branding because I want to be differentiated. I want to be different from the other products and other companies in the market. It is trying to create a very significant position because it wants to attract and retain the loyal consumers of the market. Definitely, as we understood that branding is nothing, but it's a kind of a term which is used, maybe it's a kind of a name, maybe it is a symbol, maybe it is a logo, maybe it is a design. That's all is branding, the symbols and the logos which you see, which is distinguishing the company from the other organizations in the market. And definitely it is building up a different kind of a position from its rivals. That's what, and that's the basic purpose of branding. Whenever we talk about a brand name and branding strategies, the companies, they, in reality, I would say they try to focus only on their target market before they decide on how the particular product or service has to be branded. So if I'm putting up a branding strategy, I have to really see what kind of a market do I have. So it would be basically the in-depth understanding of your market, your target audience, in fact. See, the concept over here is that none of the business has the capacity, basically, to target the entire population, right? Therefore, the owners, the companies, they should have the capability to identify the kind of people who would actually buy their products and services in the market. And this can be only done with research, right? The research, which is based on maybe segmenting your market on the basis of age, maybe on the basis of the lifestyle, maybe on the basis of the income, maybe on the basis of gender, and so on, right? So I would have a branding strategy. I would have my own way of positioning my products in the consumer's mind, depending on these categories and the segmentations, right? It's not only this, right? Because it's not a very narrow term. It's very broad in nature. It also has an intention of creating the awareness, right? So that the people, they can distinguish the one brand from the another brand. I would say this is nothing but it's a kind of a brand awareness, right? The companies which have a well-established position in the market, you know, and the companies who have really gained some name and fame in the market, right? So these kind of companies, they generally take away the benefits on the basis of the brand awareness they have already created in the market. And how they have created this brand awareness or maybe brand image? On the basis of the advertisements, or maybe the newspapers articles, or maybe TV commercials, the radio advertisements and whatnot. Or maybe any other kind of social media marketing tools also, right? Definitely, we cannot ignore the fact that, you know, these marketing efforts, they are playing a very major role in branding a particular product in the market or a company. Where logos also play a very important role in building the brand awareness. But there are numerous other factors. For example, you know, if I'm branding, maybe I have a different kind of a positioning strategy. So I can relate it with even with the positioning. This is how I do my branding, because this is how I want my consumers to think about me, right? So I'm helping to increase the brand awareness, right? And changing the perception of the consumers, right? And people, they should recognize my brand with my symbol, with my logo, with my brand statement, right? With my designs. That's what the company generally strives to do in the market. Branding also has the intention of achieving the maximum loyalty from the consumers, right? You know, if a consumer is buying my product, you know, of a particular company, in fact, the consumer is doing a lot of research in the market. Extensive market research is being done by my consumers. And they try to distinguish one company from the another company. On what basis? The kind of basis which has already been delivered by the companies around. That is their branding strategies. So there are a lot of branding strategies being used by the companies. They help in building the loyalty because the consumers will be able to distinguish one brand from the another brand. There is no confusion. I use number one, I liked it, I will continue using number one. There is no confusion because there is a brand, there is a logo, there is a name, there is a symbol. So when I go to the market, I obviously ask for the product which has given me the maximum benefit or the advantage. So as a consumer, you are very well aware about the brands in the market and prefers one brand over the other brand, right? Consumers, they prefer using one over the other. And that is because of the benefits which they are getting from one brand over the other brand. One would really like to understand that how consumers generally have this tendency and how these brands would really benefit them as compared to the competitors, because that would be their basis of decision, right? So this is how you can actually build your brand loyalty, right? When the maybe the company, when it tries to stay in touch with their consumers in the market, right? They keep on taking the reviews from their consumers, right? And when you stay strongly connected with your consumers, when you would like to take the reviews also, and when you would like to conduct a market research and be in a very close contact with your consumer, it helps in creating your brand image, right? Because it is creating awareness. And that's what the point was, right? So it is very important for a company to understand that, you know, if a brand has to be consistent in the market, right? It is very important that there are a lot of players playing their role in the market. A lot of business houses, be it large or small, they're playing their roles in the market. right? But there are companies who are making number of promises to their consumers. When you see these commercials, when you go to the websites, a lot of promises being made, right? And this is all done maybe through the advertisement, or maybe they design some kind of a branding strategy. This results into increased expectations of the consumers, right? It can be from the product offering, from the product use, from the product benefit, whatever we were talking about earlier, if you can just go back and relate. So here what happens is, now it becomes the responsibility of the company to live up to the expectations of the consumers, right? So one has to really understand, if these promises are made, they should be kept. Otherwise, the companies, they lose a brand name in the market. Is that clear to you? This is how generally over a period of time, or I would say in a long run, would help a company in making its branding more sustainable in the market. Branding generally is used as a tool, in fact, right? Which is trying to control the consumer's perception about a particular product or maybe a company, right? About a brand image, because this is how I would be positioning myself and this is how I would be branding myself, right? We can have a number of examples here where the companies have created their brandings and they have been able to maintain the sustainable competitive advantage over the other firms. Sustainable competitive advantage. I've been focusing it right from the beginning, that the businesses should not only think about the short-term gains it might have from the business, but if they want to be sustainable in the market, if they want to be persistent in the market, they have to think that how they can create the long-term advantages. And these advantages should be over their competitors and over their past strategies, right? So I want to maintain my sustainable position in the market. I want to be competitive in the market, right? And I would like to have lots of advantages over my competitors. I can do it if I'm able to use the branding efficiently, right? So if you are investing in branding, because lots of investment is required here, right? And it's one of the critical factor which would again determine what is going to be the success of your organization, right? Again, an example of Apple here, right? The kind of branding it has done in market is entirely different, right? It is a smartphone, but the kind of features it offers, they're entirely different. And the branding is that it is an innovative product of the market. As I said, every now and then, and every after 6 months or so, right, it comes up with a new model with new features, right? Entirely different. That's the branding strategy, being innovative in the market. See, about Apple, you should always, whenever you think about it, one thing which generally clicks my mind is innovativeness, which is really important, plus the uniqueness of the model the Apple offers, right? It is unique in the market as compared to the other competitors in the market. This is, I would say, one of the company which has positioned itself and it has maintained its brand identity and image in the market, right? Because it says it is innovative, so it is keeping its promise of being innovative in the market by coming up with the different models now and then. People know it very well, right? That they would be coming up with something new every time, right? The company is always working and doing lots of research in the market in order to develop its product, right? It understands how the technology is changing and how they can improve the experiences of their consumer with the model they offer. All right. So see, understand, we can also say that here that Apple is established itself as a very strong brand, which is working productively in order to innovate its product, right? And when you look about the products, they are so beautiful and so innovative that because of this branding strategy, everybody is inclined. You know, you have a particular segment of the market which is inclined toward the product. Maybe everybody might be wanting to have Apple products maybe, right? But the demand depends whether they have a backup of buying it or not, whether their pocket size permits them to buy or not. Initially, we started our class with the needs, wants, and demands, right? It is offering the quality product, but definitely at a very high price, right? Apple is something, again, there is one more point which I will highlight here. See, Apple tried to connect its product with the consumers. In fact, the qualities of the product with those of the qualities of the consumers in the market. It definitely says that, you know, if a person is consuming and it is using the Apple products, since I have branded my product as innovative, right? That means if you are an Apple user, any of the product user, you are also an innovator, you are also very creative, or maybe you are very imaginative. Did you understand that? It had tried to relate the qualities of the product with that of the, you know, the qualities of a consumer. I hope everybody understands that. I was talking about the Apple's pricing here, but generally when Apple tries to brand, right, and do such activities, it focuses on the leaving the price aside. It never focuses on its price at all. It leaves the price out of its branding strategies completely. And what it does is basically it gives more emphasis on branding the product values and maybe the kind of connection which it establishes with its consumers in the market. Okay, I'll just give one more example here and would prefer to wind up the class then. See, Nike is one of the company which has always again focused on innovation plus very important thing, performance, right? The core benefit of the product has always been highlighted by Nike. The target, and maybe when you talk about the target audience, you know, they generally target the athletes and maybe the performers in the market who have to do a lot of running and movements, right? Where this kind of a shoe would support their performance. So when they make their product available to the consumers or when they offer their product in the market, they generally tend to focus more on the core benefits of the product. Okay. If you look into detail about the kind of strategy here with respect to Nike, it brands the product and communicates the message, which is related to, I would say, I will use the word empowerment here, right? And why am I using this word here? Because it is related to the tagline, just do it. Just do it. It's making you confident. It's making you more powerful. If you have seen the brand ambassadors, which are there for Nike, right? Which are used in the advertisements, or in fact, the models and the athletes, which are, you know, who are trying to display the products, you know, here. They never give you a smiling face. When you go back from my class now, just go through a few of the advertisements of Nike. You will understand. These models, they never have a smiling face. They never show any kind of a happiness. But you will always see their powerful faces. But what you would see is a simple demonstration that these people are involved in some kind of physical activity, right? And they're carrying a face, not with a smile, but with some kind of a pressure of giving the best of the performance. Athletes, or maybe any other performers for that matter. So when I'm performing, right, when I am into physical activity, right, when I'm losing on so much of energy, you cannot expect the person to have a smile on his face. The person should be demonstrating the different kind of expressions, which clearly indicates that the person is inclined towards his performance more than anything else. All right, my class? Are you there with me? Are you there with me? All right. All right. Okay. Let's wind up the session here. Right. And if you have any questions, I have already stated that you can always drop them in the Dropbox, right here in the chat box, and we will get back with the answers. Right. And so how was your experience with this marketing classes? We had a very short time with each other. And as I said, that this subject is so diverse, you know, this is so intense. I would say it, I mean, it needs a lot of conversations with my students, which we could not have. I completely understand. Okay. Okay, you're just raising your hands. Okay. You can always drop the message there in the chat box. I hope everything went fine. And what I just wanted is to give you a brief overview, a basic framework about marketing, so that you all are MBA aspirants, you all are PGDM aspirants, and you will have an idea that how this marketing would help you, right? And see, you do any kind of, you take any kind of a degree, you do any kind of a course around, every business house, needs the marketing efforts to be made, right? So one of the very important subject. We are also planning to come up with lots of courses for you during this lockdown period, as we know that everybody is sitting at home, and we would prefer our students to really benefit from the different courses. We're designing few for you, and I think there was one message which was dropped right in the morning when we started with the class. And this kind of information will definitely be communicated to you well in time. So just stay in touch, stay in tune with us. Okay. Thank you so much. We leave the class here. You all can leave the room. Thank you.